What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Moguls. My name is Findlay-Shirras, and on today's show, we have a real estate performance coach, creator of Broker Flow, speaker, author, and Inman contributor, who has tripled her income at one point in New York as a broker in the area. She has courses on how to crush it in your first year, on lead conversion, on being a broker boss, or broker like a boss, and she teaches you how to flip the script so you can have more success in sales. So let's welcome our special guest, Stef Shock.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So, why did you get into coaching agents? Like, talk about, that transition. You were an agent, you were a broker, and now you're coaching. So how come?
Well, I was a broker for, and I'm still a broker, but I was practicing for about 10 years here in New York and eventually the Bahamas. And when I decided to get into life coaching, I didn't know I'd actually be coaching realtors.
Okay.
But I started working with them and realizing how much help they need, and thought, why don't I take all my experience in real estate and this new information I have as a coach and start working with them. And I fell in love with it instantly. And so I feel like now I'm finally living my calling. It was the combination of the two things came together, and yeah, I really love it.
And you focus on you talk about rookies and brokers, because there's a lot of different people in the industry that you could have targeted, and you picked pretty much like two ends of the spectrum.
Right.
So how come you focus on rookies and brokers?
So rookies and brokers have completely, they have unique needs. They're completely different. Like what I did as a rookie to be a success in that first year or two is very different than what I was practicing later. I focused more on short game in my first year, and when the longer I was in, I started focusing on longer strategies where I knew I wasn't going to make a deal immediately, but I wanted to raise that price point. So my strategies became more like, okay, in 2 or 3 months, what I'm doing now is going to pay off. But in that first year, you need things to pay off quicker, real fast. You almost want those fast deals. You need to get in front of people at a more rapid pace. So when I'm coaching, I take that into consideration, how far you are in the industry, how long you've been in it.
What are some of the tips you give to people in their first couple of years to be successful?
Well, my moneymaker as a rookie, and I would sometimes do it later in my business if I just wanted to fill some time with my business, was mostly hosting open houses. And I can't stress this enough, and I'm sure the rookies out there have heard this a lot. Host open houses, host open houses. Because frankly, it's such a great learning tool. You're getting in front of somebody who needs to buy a house, and you're face to face with them. You're not on the phone. You're not trying to market yourself on social media. You're in a place where they're standing right in front of you. And you've got to learn how to talk to them about real estate. And what better place to do that than be in a room literally where customers are all around you. Where my coaching comes into play was, it took me years to do open houses correctly. And where I see a lot of agents struggling is when they say, oh, I've done an open house and that didn't work. I'm like, were you doing it right? Mm-hmm. There is a strategy. Yeah. It's very specific, point by point, what you're supposed to be doing. And you will get a deal fast, in my opinion. If you're doing it right, you're going to get a deal fast. The longer you're in this industry, you're probably not hosting open houses. You have like a buyer's agent in your team doing it for you, or you have an assistant. You have somebody handling that for you while you're doing something else. Either you're with your family or you're at the office working on a different system or strategy. So two different agents, two different needs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of different things about people's beliefs and expectations when entering real estate. What do you think are some of the misconceptions or myths or like limiting beliefs that you think people have when they join real estate?
Well, when you get into real estate, limiting beliefs really aren't the problem. You actually have a lot of beliefs that this is going to be amazing.
Okay.
You've seen HGTV, you're ready to go, you got your license, you have it all figured out. So you go into it, frankly, with big beliefs and big expectations. And speaking as a life coach and a wise woman later in my years, if there's one thing I've recognized is when you expect things to be a certain way, you're potentially setting yourself up for disappointment. So what I say to rookies is, don't really expect anything to happen a specific way. Just apply yourself, do the best you can, learn and absorb, like soak it up like a sponge, and don't attach yourself to an outcome. Or as I'd say, fall in love with a process, right? Just live in the moment. Okay, right now I need to focus on just this because it's gonna lead to this. But where rookies, and unfortunately, Inman reported a couple years ago that 82% of agents leave the industry within the first 2 years.
It's that high now. I heard 50 was in 1 year, and then 85 was in 3 to 5. It's now down to 2?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And where I think that comes from is, first of all, we should take into consideration that a lot of people that get their licenses actually don't have much of an intention to have a career on it. So before agents get nervous on all these statistics, you have to take into account there's a large portion of those people that just wanted to get a license to like close a deal here or there. They always knew they were going to be part-time or not going to do it at all. I've talked to a lot of people who are like, yeah, I once got my license and never really used it. I don't think I was planning on doing anything. So that is taken into account into that percentage. But where I think agents have these high expectations and dreams to be a full-time agent and be really successful, and then they leave before the first year is done, is because this just is not what they thought it was going to be. And that's where that expectation of what you think is going to happen plays with your mind and really keeps you from succeeding in this industry.
Now so here's some of the things that I've heard. There's a debate of what budget do you come into the industry with? Should you need to have a marketing budget? How much, some people say you're not going to make money for your first 3 years. Some people, like me personally, I go, you absolutely can make money in your first year. What are some of the things that you help just, again, get their mind right for the process and for the journey?
You are asking all the right questions, Grant. These are good, very good. Well, all agents take a different approach. So some agents are like, I'm going to do Zillow. I'm going to put my money into Zillow. And then they'll do like $500 a month. They're like, why am I not getting a return on that investment? And then some agents are like, I'm going to do Facebook ads, $500 a month. Or typically they actually put down $50 on an ad campaign or boost a post, and they're like, I didn't get a deal. And I'm like, oh my God, if you could get a deal on a $50 boosted post,
there would be 10 million realtors.
We'd all be in this industry.
Yeah.
And then there's some agents that are like, I'm just going to do the open house circuit. So when it comes to ROI, are you investing time and energy, or are you investing money? Because if you're investing money, you're not going to have to put out so much time and energy because those calls are going to come to you, right? But if you have, limited funds like I did, I had very little money to invest in my business. I was putting in a lot of footwork. I started out in New York City. I was hitting the pavement every day. I was working long hours, and frankly, I was doing everything wrong.
Mm-hmm. Did you start with rentals in New York as well?
I did, as I would think a majority of realtors here, because, and for people who don't know the New York market, they immediately think leasing, but
it's one of the few markets where you can make a pretty good amount of money on leasing.
Oh yeah, I was in a room packed with really successful agents who were making about, I would imagine, $15,000 a month on a decent month just in leasing apartments. But to take into account that when you do a lease here, it's very similar to when you're doing a sale deal. You have to negotiate. There actually is a board package. You have to apply to stay in the building. So frankly, I wouldn't notice a big difference between helping someone lease an apartment here and helping someone buy an apartment.
What are some of there's a lot of people watching this who are either tech startup founders, investors, and this is for the whole property tech society and help bring people together, talk about the future of the industry in tech. So when you now coach your brokers and your agents on tools and services that they should be incorporating in their business that will help them scale, will help them grow, will help them be efficient, what are some of your favorite ones that you like to recommend?
Well, I mean, you've probably heard this a lot, but Facebook ads seem to be like the wave of the future when it comes to your own personal brand and getting it out there. When it comes to tech, though, I think what's going to really shift the market is homeowners are going to have more access to selling their own properties than ever before. And where agents are going to have to compete with that is, you know, how am I going to miss this? Am I going to miss out on listings because homeowners now can do a FSBO successfully without me? I mean, technology has really made it possible.
Well, so with that FSBO thing,
Yeah.
I want to know what your perspective on is this number. This is the number that needs to change. So then it's now a third or 35% of people attempt to sell a home on their own.
Yes.
Which is very big.
That is big.
But only 9%, 9 to 11% actually do.
Right.
So there's still a massive gap of people who attempt and then end up using a realtor.
And actually end up using a realtor.
And that percentage of FSBOs who have actually sold has actually gone down.
Really?
Mm-hmm. The percentage, the number has gone up because of sheer mass.
Right.
But the percentage of actual people who have sold their home on their own has gone down. And half of the people who do are selling it to their friends and family, and it's like, dude, that deal's not going to be yours anyways. Like they're pretty much just giving the house away for free for someone in their family. So there's only like half of that, so 3 to 5% of people actually sell a home to someone they don't know on their own.
Right.
A lot of people try. Do you see that changing a lot? Like, what are you seeing in the industry, and what are you trying to advise your agents on it? Because it's something to say that like we got to watch out for people trying to sell their home on their own, but then you look at 2018's data, and the percentage is actually really low.
Right.
So, what are your thoughts on?
Well, what works in a realtor's favor is that someone selling their home is in an enormous amount of pain. It's a really painful experience to sell a home, especially when you don't have experience in it. Take, for instance, I'm a broker. I moved from New York into Denver, really hot market. I bought a condo, and then when I was ready to sell it after 2 years and upgrade, I hired an agent. When I'm a broker, I should be able to do this myself. I didn't want to. I know what's involved, and I would rather someone who does this full time, all the time, who knows the Denver market to sell my home for me. Yeah. And that's the same journey a lot of FSBO people go on. They want to test that water and feel it. And then they put their toe in, they're like, just, wow, this is hot, or this is freezing cold. I don't want to do this. And then, it doesn't surprise me that they end up using an agent. Where an agent can use this in the tech industry, and this is a unique strategy that I probably would do if I was a full-time agent. Create a platform that appeals to people who want to sell their homes. Create a platform where you attract people who want to sell their own home, and then they come to you for like a service. $200 fee to learn a system. Here's the book. This is how you sell your home. Now you have an exchange of money and you're creating a relationship with this person. Then they start putting it into practice, and just you wait. It'll take like 2 weeks for them to call you and say, I thought I could do this, I'd rather just sell the home. Does that make sense? Totally. So you're using it as a lead magnet, but to get a listing.
So actually, without getting too much into it, all of my realtors have a neighborhood website. That's what we give them. And they go up to, I say, this is the ultimate key to FSBOs. I literally think I've cracked the code.
Good.
I don't know if I want to say, I have to say this on camera.
You don't want to share this with
I'm already
too many
down
people?
this path. This is crack the code. And it goes along with what you're saying.
Right.
And to be fair, lots of people in the past have come up with ebooks and things to give to FSBOs to say, hey, here's tips on how to sell your home and market your home, all that stuff.
Yeah, we're not inventing the wheel here, but it's not really being done.
The problem is with those ebooks and with selling information is you don't really get to know them. They get to know you, but you don't get to know them. Mm-hmm. And that is the name of the game, in my opinion,
getting to know
on
them.
How to sell. And have them know that they know you, have them know that you know them,
right?
And that you get them, and they like you.
Yes,
and
don't
so
pitch to them.
If you have a local platform,
right,
then you can go up to the FSBOs and say, hey, I'm an ambassador of this local platform. I'd love to
love
interview
that wording.
you.
You're an ambassador of it.
Well, so it actually is because my company owns the platform. So we are kind of like us and Nextdoor, the neighborhood platforms in the world.
Yeah.
And so I work with agents and I say, listen, you're the ambassador. I work with one agent per area. You're the ambassador of it. And then people can try to find ways of recreating this and stuff. I'm gonna interview you and feature your home and help you sell it on the community, because there's locals who go to this local platform. There's people who use it, and maybe you can sell it on this platform. Fistbill goes, that's awesome. They don't know you're a realtor yet, and that's okay, because all you needed to do was get in the door.
Yeah.
And then what are you
Provide a
doing in that
service,
interview? You're interviewing them, you're featuring them, you're showing them how good you are at showing a home and making it sound awesome.
Right.
And then they find out you're a realtor, and statistically, again, you're just playing the statistics of people who end up using a realtor. So that idea of just realtors like, why would I help them educate? Why would I educate them and why would I help them try and sell their home on their own?
Why would I give away free information? Right. Isn't that what people are paying me for? So in the tech industry, where you can create online courses like I have, or you provide a service, if you're giving away your best stuff, people will come to you and pay for it. It's marketing in a sense. Give away the best stuff, and then they'll come to you and be like, all right, I'm going to pay for the rest. Because it's the what and the why. The how is a longer experience. It's like going to college. So why am I going to college? What is it? The how is why you pay for that, that 4-year, 8-year experience to become a leader.
And the package.
Right.
And I probably can't consume all your stuff anyways. Like, you could put it all out in all these different formats. I'm not going to consume it anyways. So if I can just pay you money to get it in a nice little bow, great, I'll do that. Convenience, right? I'm paying for convenience. Okay, now I want to shift gears to the broker and the brokerages, because there's a lot of talk about the future of the brokerage, the value proposition they're giving their agent. So what are you seeing there that maybe is changes in the industry that maybe the brokerages need to start doing things differently, and that you're coaching them on or educating them on?
Well, access to training. Some brokerages are known for it. You know what you're going to get with Keller Williams. You're going to get this. You have so many opportunities for training, especially in your rookie year, to learn how to do this business. And I think the most competitive brokerages, like you have Compass and other agencies that are basically, when you get in there, they're like, we're going to show you how this is done. Even the boutique agencies that I know of in Denver, there's like a handful of them that have a very comprehensive training program, and they even provide you with a photographer and a marketing department that you don't have to pay extra for. But they do take a higher cut with the commission. Where agencies or agents unfortunately get lost in the shuffle is they say, well, I don't want to pay a portion of my commission to this agency because that's a lot of money and I don't feel like I need the training. Well, you have to make up for that space. If you want to take a larger commission at the end, you've got to train yourself. You've got to go in search of that information, because frankly, you and I know this, that real estate licensing school does not really prepare you for what is required to run a business. And any CEO of any company, regardless the industry, they invest a lot of money in their own business to make sure it's a success. And that it's the agent's responsibility to do that. They have to go in search of that information if it's not provided from their brokerage.
Have you had any different, now that how long have you been removed now from being a broker and an agent?
I became a full-time coach 3 years ago. So I was full-time brokering until then.
Have you had any, now that I'm out of the game, here is some unique insight and perspective that I couldn't see when I was in it?
Oh, my insight. I was actually having dinner with a broker that I worked alongside when I was brokering in New York, and we were talking about that, and she said, what do you see from your vantage point now? And I'm like, well, New York is different than the rest of the country. The way people do real estate outside of the city is vastly different. So I was in the midst of a lot of agents who were like, I don't really know how to do a listing appointment. I don't know how to effectively host an open house. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Just from experiencing it here, you have to learn in a very short period of time. And I meet with agents at 2 or 3 years into the business they're still struggling to convert leads. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you have to throw yourself into discomfort zones so much when you start in order to learn quickly. So my vantage point now is I'm listening to agents from rookies to agents that have been in real estate for 10 plus years. And I notice those common patterns between the successful ones and the unsuccessful ones. It's very clear why one thrives and the other one struggles.
What one of the big things, and that's a nice segue that I wanted to ask you about, that I know I struggle with, I know other companies who have great products and services for agents to use, brokers have all this training they do provide their agents, and they struggle to get agents to commit and have routines and rituals and consistency in using the technologies and plugging into the training and doing the calls and doing the work. Like, they get on the bus, they get off the bus, and they're just constantly going back and forth. And that is one of the consistency of effort is one of the biggest reasons for success I've seen in life.
Sure.
What have you found helps a coach or helps a company or helps a broker get those people to have that discipline and do that consistency, right, and keep them engaged for longer strengths of time before they fall off the map?
So, like you said, systems and discipline are so much a part of someone's success, right? My success and your success is truly based on your daily behaviors. And when a person, regardless whether in real estate or not, understands that that their success is really defined by what they're doing every single day, that person is getting closer to what discipline really means. So I ask agents, I want you to paint a picture in your head of the most successful agent you can imagine. This is the ideal you want to be. And so they do. They create that in their mind. And I said, what time is that person waking up? What time do they eat? What are they eating? What are they talking about? What are the words they use when they're around people? How do they stand? What's their posture? So they start getting very clear on what this looks like. And I said, that's your guidebook right there. I mean, anybody could do that. Anybody watching this right now could just take a minute, take a breath, think for a minute, create this in your mind, and that is the behavior you need to embody. That's it. It's right there.
So I love visualization. I love thinking about your higher self.
Yes.
Now, how do I do that? How do I make sure I do that every day? Do I really have to visualize that every single day? Do I have to write it down every single day? Do I need accountability? I mean, obviously this is the value of coaches. Yes. And so what are some systems and some things that you've done with people to make them get that vision and then now execute that plan and that vision day in, day out, year in, year out?
Yes. You need to get really connected with your calendar. What is a calendar except the painting or the story of what the next week looks like for you, right? On Sunday evenings, and I heard some other coaches speaking during this summit that I agree with, your day is defined by the night before. So I've had agents say to me, well, I'm trying to understand color blocking. I want work-life balance, right? This is kind of a fantasy. This whole, I look at my calendar and I'm strict to these color blocks. Where I think your day is defined is really happening the night before. And a lot of coaches said that. They're like, I actually sit down with, what does Monday look like on a Sunday night? What does Tuesday look like on a Monday night? Because in real estate, this is not a 9-to-5 job. This isn't okay, get up, go to work at this time, you're in rush hour, you have this meeting every day at 9. You actually define your schedule. So where discipline really, the rubber meets the road, is in looking at your calendar and deciding right now what it looks like every day. I said earlier that I see the common pattern, the difference between a successful and an unsuccessful broker. Someone I coach, I asked her, you tell me what's working for you the most, because she was blowing up. She is blowing up right now. She's getting more listings. She's out there. She's doing the hustle. It's not coming to her. She's going in search of it. And she says, every single morning, I write down everything I'm grateful for. And I'm like, oh, come on, girl. You must be doing something else. And she's like, every single morning I get my coffee and I sit down. I don't turn on anything, no music, no news. And I write down everything I'm grateful for. And then she'll make her phone calls, and then she hits her appointments. So when you ask, what is the first thing I can do, or what is the takeaway they can do right now, is tonight, look at tomorrow and make a committed decision. This is the time I'm waking up, and this is how I'm going to start my day, and then this is what I'm going to do for the rest of the afternoon, and stick to that plan, and then do it the next day and the next day. I don't know how much we can plan the whole week. I really think the quality of tomorrow is defined tonight.
Yeah, very cool. Talk about the future of, your coaching company and your services. You got already courses out? Are you coming out with new courses, or what's in store for the future of your business?
So I right now have 4 courses, and I'm happy you asked about a new one. I'm going to launch a new one that's free. Like I said, give your best stuff away for free. It's going to be like a 4-day challenge course, and that anybody can sign up whenever they want. That is going to go into creation probably through the month of February, and then I'll have it like up and running by March.
And what's the course going to be about? So what's that challenge, or what's?
The 4-day challenge is going to be really connecting with that discipline, the behaviors. So it's going to be very much about how are we scheduling this week. For the next 4 days, we're going to get clear and stick to a specific behavior for the next 4 days. Yeah. So it's going to test the person. Like, you've got to make some calls today. You've got to write some handwritten letters. You've got to market yourself. On Tuesday, you're going to do a Facebook Live. So I want it to be a fun challenge where the agent is like, oh my God, all these things I always thought were a burden were actually kind of fun. And that, to me, is the best way to get a preview of the rest of my courses and my coaching. So you get to preview it for free. You don't have to make a huge financial.
So how can they get in touch with you, and how can they get a part of this?
Yeah, check out all my courses at stefshock.com. That's Stef with an F, shock.com. And I should just spell the whole thing out, because people think I spell my last name S-C-H-O-C-K. It's actually S-H-O-C-K, yeah. So it's STEFSHOCK.com.
Like, you're getting shocked.
Yeah, you're getting shocked.
You're getting shocked with some knowledge from Stef Shock.
Coaching. And that's where all my courses are. I also have blog posts, so you can kind of see what my mindset is. If there's anything I'd recommend to agents is you should shop for a coach. You shouldn't just like take the first big name you hear of. You should look at all of them, read what they say about the business and how does it make you feel when you're reading it. And to me, a lot of my content is like, you're a CEO, you're a leader, you're a boss. You've got to be your own boss. So if this speaks to them, I want them to show up. I want them to do the challenge, but also look at the courses that I have right now, because you can always check those out as well.
Awesome. Well, hey, that's it for this episode of Real Estate Moguls. As always, subscribe so you can learn from more smart people who can help you be more successful in real estate, like Stef. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.